Really excited about today because we have the opportunity to have every single student and faculty member, 6th through 12th grade, engaged in building together Wooster's community of thinking and learning.
The day of metacognition and reflection occurs at the conclusion of our trimesters at Wooster, and is an opportunity for us to slow down from the busy pace of independent school life and take a look at what really has transpired over the course of the last 11 weeks.
We're here to look back so we can look forward.
It's not just to see your grade and then either be upset about it or be really happy and then brag to your friends. It's about really thinking about what that grade is about and what you could do better next time.
In the future, what do we want to be? And how can we accomplish that?
We're here to look at our goals from the first trimester and to really reflect on how we did and if we accomplished those goals or if we didn't accomplish those goals.
So one of the dispositions that we try to cultivate in our students is a metacognitive disposition, and that is a fancy term for thinking about one's own thinking. We believe that it's one thing for a teacher to be able to articulate a student's growth as a thinker and a learner, but it's a wholly different one for the student, him or herself, to be able to do that.
If you can figure out how you learn best, and then where you need to do more work, it has real value for you. Obviously, in terms of success in school, success when you go on to whatever's going to happen after you leave Wooster.
The day of metacognition and reflection is not just a day for the students to celebrate their learning stories. What's so special is that it's also an occasion for the teachers to celebrate their learning stories.
Setting a goal of giving better feedback to my students, more thoughtful feedback. And I made a connection with Colin because he talked about dedicating more time to accomplishing his goals.
All of our goals in the past and going forward were rooted in recognizing our own strengths and weaknesses and how we could use those to our advantage in school and in life to go forward.
One thing that I've been really proud of this year has been students' progress with their lab skills.
And so our students come into the day with their grades and their written narrative comments from their teachers. And one of the things that we ask them to do is go through their grades, go through their comments, connect them back to the goals that they set at the beginning of the trimester, project out new goals from there for the next trimester.
One of my goals from the beginning of the year was to advocate for myself a bit more.
And even if I didn't improve from last trimester in terms of my grade, I definitely improved.
One of my goals that I set was like asking more questions or going the extra mile. That's what the teacher wrote about me. So just to see like that evidence was really like good to see.
In terms of working with 7th grade students through our 2 days of reflection so far, I think there are also sort of 2 major themes that we've pursued. The first theme has to do with giving kids tools and a process to help consider themselves as learners and thinkers above and beyond just the sum of their homework grades and their quiz grades.
And I think one skill I worked on was presentation, because I had to present it in front of the class, which I was kind of nervous to do, but it went pretty well, and then I felt a lot more confident after that.
So we have a 3-part curricular framework here, skills, dispositions, and knowledge. And when I'm talking about skills, I mean things like reading, writing, speaking, presenting. And when I say dispositions, I mean character traits like honesty, resilience, grit, curiosity, creativity.
Because of that essay, she actually referenced it when I was reading about my grades. And as a person, I think it's changed me because I've been able to stop doubting and underestimating myself.
When students are now sharing their stories, they're talking about the skills, dispositions, and knowledge that they're attaining. And in most school settings, most students are just talking about the knowledge.
And my best piece of work for my last trimester would be the poems that I wrote in English. And what taught me was independence, because like I'm not always relying on my teacher to give me feedback.
We focus on the disposition of pride and the skill of presentation on this day, and we ask the students to think about all their work from the last 11 weeks, and then to stand up in front of roughly 200 people and practice public speaking. in addressing the whole assembly as to what are they most proud of.
What's really exciting to see is the students' growing confidence, not only as speakers, but also their own comfort level in making their own thinking and making their own learning visible.
And it was a whole tutorial model reflection kind of thing where we grew and we used a whole different things and we had to look at our takeaways. And I just found it really interesting to see how I changed and how in a short 500 words I was able to describe that, and I was proud of that.
From the last trimester is organizing Mrs. Campbell to come to our school. After her presentation, I got so much feedback of how much it impacted people, so that is something that I was really proud of.
I was very proud that I was able to keep a steady hand on all my academics through my extracurriculars, and I also wrote about how the blood drive was a success, and I was very proud of that.
I was expecting a completely different thing than what I got out of the team, so I'm proud of everybody who's been involved with the team, the amount of work that you put in.
My point is, in real life, you're not going to be graded on a 1 to 6 scale, an A to F scale. You're going to be graded on your effort. Maybe not physically, but every day in life, you're graded on your effort.
One of the great parts of the day of metacognition and reflection is that as a community of both students and faculty, we have an opportunity to share the diversity of learning stories that we all have here on campus.
From seeing students on the basketball courts to seeing them in classrooms or eating with them at lunch, Wooster provides the opportunity to create community and ultimately a new family.